Hey yo, what's happening everybody? It's your homeboy OG Camera Boy again. And we're back today with another video. It's going to be a little bit different than I normally do. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be trying to repairing this here Samsung NX300 that I actually picked up off of eBay for pretty much a song and a dance, minus the dance. And it was so cheap, I paid less than $30 for this camera. And it was a as-is parts only camera that was sold, but it's not necessarily in the worst condition. So I'm going to see if I could try and revive it and give this camera a second life, you know what I'm saying, by refurbishing it and seeing if we can't get it to work.
DNA made from Nikon Z chromosomes, homie. I guess my secret's out and now you know me.
Now, if you've ever seen any of my other videos, you know that I need another Samsung camera like I need a hole in the head, because I definitely have more than I need, you know what I'm saying, more than I even make use of. To tell you the truth, this is my fourth Samsung NX300. I've actually even sold two others that I had recently, a couple months back. I had three of them and I sold two of them because I wasn't getting much use out of them, and I kept this one, and this is the one that I had actually refurbished previously. So I bought this one. It was in disrepair basically. It wasn't working at all, didn't turn on at all or anything like that. But because I had two others, I was able to take some of the parts out of those and put it into this one and figure out what the problem was. And essentially it was just a bad motherboard. So I bought myself a new motherboard from AliExpress, waited for the month or so that it took to deliver it, and when I got it, switched it out, and yo, camera works perfect, man. And this is the one that I kept for myself. Now this one right here, like I said, I just picked this one up and I have no idea what the problem is at this point in time. I do know that this camera does turn on. It does actually take pictures and takes videos. But the back screen shows absolutely no image whatsoever. So I mean, I can't see what it is that I'm filming or taking a picture of, or how the shot is being composed. And of course, because this camera doesn't have an electronic viewfinder, everything is done through the back screen. So there's no way of like setting up the camera with the camera settings or anything like that. So if you put it on manual, you have no idea what your f-stop is. You have no idea what your shutter speed is going to be and all the rest of that. I guess you could just use this camera shooting on auto and hoping for the best. But you know, we're going to try and fix this back screen. And like I said, I mean, I have one right here, so this one works just fine. The first thing I think I'm going to do is take them both apart, and I'm just going to put this screen onto that one to see if we can't narrow down and troubleshoot and see if we can't try to repair and find out what part it is that might be faulty, so we can see if we can't order that from AliExpress. Or maybe even if we just look inside, maybe there's something that we could look at there at that point in time that might be, you know, finagled with to make this camera work just fine. I have no idea. I haven't opened this up. I literally just received this last night, so you know, I'm interested in tinkering around with this because I'm very much a do-it-yourselfer when it comes to all sorts of different types of projects. And I love when I can find a camera like this, you know, on a real good deal. It pretty much didn't cost me hardly anything. Like I said, it was about just less than $30, you know what I mean, for a camera that works and functions in many cases except for the back screen. So you know, it gives me great pleasure to try and revive these things and see if I can't bring them back to life. Now, just looking at the camera itself, I could tell that there's a little bit of damage on it, you know what I mean? It looks like it may have been dropped. You see right here in this corner, and I don't know if that's going to focus on you too well, but you can see in this corner it looks like it had some sort of an impact from hitting the ground. And there's a little bit of scuffing here and there, that kind of thing, even close to the screen. But other than that, the camera looks to be in decent shape, so I mean, it's just a matter of opening it up and seeing what we have inside, you know. And I know that the parts for this camera, they're not abundant, but they are something that you can come by if you look on AliExpress or places like that. Sometimes eBay, but generally I find AliExpress is a better option for things like this. And you know, like I said, I was able to do that with this one, and this one works just fine right now. And this one was in worse situation than this one was, as far as like, at least this one functions. This one wouldn't turn on, had no life to it whatsoever. But like I said, because I have sort of a donor right here, we can kind of switch them up and see what's going on, and we can do a little bit of troubleshooting and see if we can't find out and fix this problem. So, yo, let's get to the interesting part and open this baby up, you know what I'm saying? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to talk for a few seconds about my whole setup right here, my little station. I got myself the anti-static mat. I bought this way back in the days when I built my computer, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to have a nice anti-static surface for when I was putting together the components of my computer, so I'm going to use that here right now. And that's probably overkill, but yo, I have it, so I might as well use it. Got a couple of lenses out here. These lenses obviously were just the first two that were in the front of my dry cabinet that I grabbed just in case, you know what I'm saying, so I can attach them to the camera and give them a try if I need to. Got a couple batteries here, you know what I'm saying, and obviously I got my donor camera. This is the one that works just fine, and this white one is the one that I just bought for under $30. And I got a couple of cups here. This is cup is going to be for the screws for the white one. I like to keep my workstation nice and clean, you know what I'm saying? So I got my white yogurt cup for the screws, and I got my brown yogurt cup for the screws. So that's going to be for this camera, and that's going to be for that, so we don't just mix and match and maybe lose these screws. You know, they're so tiny sometimes you never know where these things can end up, so I like to put them in a secure and safe place. I got my girl's weights right here holding down the anti-static mat, because this mat had been folded up for such a long time, or rolled up rather for such a long time, that it had just more or less taken on that shape. So I'm trying to keep it spread out here with these two weights, so there's nothing important about that. I got myself a little bit of a anti-static tweezer set just in case I need to get at those small screws, and of course I got myself a screw set here, so there's nothing to it besides that. Pretty simple. Now with the NX300, I know where the screws are because I've opened this camera up several times, and they happen to be located. There's one here, you got one here, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 underneath, and one on the other side. Now when you remove those screws, the camera basically comes apart, so the outer housing will come apart, and removing everything at that point in time as far as like the screen and all that is pretty easy. So let's just get to it. You'll see it's all connected by ribbon connectors on the inside to the motherboard or main board, whatever you want to call it. So let me just get my screwdriver out here, get the appropriate tip, and start undoing the screws.
Many fantasies are being transformed into reality by modern science.
Okay, now you see here the screws are out of it more or less, except for this one right here, but it's undone. It's just that tripod mounting screw on the underside, that one there, it sort of sits in there kind of casually, you know what I'm saying? So if you undo one, it kind of leaves the other one a little bit wobbly, but anyhow, I managed to take it out as you just saw, so that's no big deal. And this pretty much just comes right apart like this, pretty easy. You know, obviously don't tug on these things too hard. It should come apart pretty easily. Put that in there too. There we go. So there, it's finally released, so just give it a little bit of a soft pull. Alright, so we can see the internal components. There you have your main board, your motherboard, attached to all sorts of different components. You obviously have most of everything is connected by ribbon connectors, and I'm going to remove the screen, the back screen on this, because that seems to be the trouble spot, and I'm just going to do that by lifting this here little fastener on the ribbon cable. Might be easier with my fingernail. You want to do this kind of carefully, because obviously you don't want to break it. I think I'm going to take myself, you know what, hold on one second. I was talking about I was going to bring out my tweezer set. Let me get that, because I think I have a better one, no doubt. I think this one will work better. Now I know from experience you have to be very careful with this ribbon connector, because this ribbon connector, this little fastening portion of it, when I tried to take it out from the other one, it kind of broke off on me, and I had to very carefully reapply it, and it's very difficult to do obviously because it's so small. So well, we can see already it's come loose, you see. Let's see now what we could do. Oh, well, you see it just came right out. Now this here ribbon connector might be a problem, you know. Come to think of it. Tell you the truth, later on, we're gonna see how it is, but if the screen doesn't fire up with this one, I might take this whole motherboard out and we'll put it underneath a microscope and we can have a look-see to see if there's any sort of visible damage here. I could see already, you can see where the connector, sort of this little clamp attaches itself to this connector on the motherboard. It's been bent out of shape a little bit, and that was not from me. I was trying carefully to do it, but I could see that it already has been bent out of shape. Now, you know, taking a look at the ribbon connector, let's see. I mean, it looks to be okay. I don't see any visible signs of damage. Interesting, you have the manufacture date on here. That's February 23rd, 2013. And let's see the other connection here. Looks to still be intact. Okay, well, let's put this one off to the side. And like I said, the simple thing to do now is we're gonna open this one up. I'm gonna take the screen off of that, put it on there, and let's see what happens. I mean, it really doesn't look too bad if I'm honest. However, that little clamp that comes down does look to be bent out of shape a little bit. Now, I don't know if I'm partially to blame for that, because it seemed to give me a difficult time when I was trying to remove it earlier, but I don't think I am. What I'm going to try and do is slide it in there nice and easy. There we go. That's more like it. Okay. Now, I believe, yes, I think so. It has snapped back into place. Okay. So, let's take this here screen, which I know works just fine, put it on here and see what happens. Again, I apologize if you can't see this very well, but I'll try and make it so that it's somewhat visible to you. But it's not rocket science. I mean, it's just a ribbon connector right here, goes into that one there, and I'll fasten it down and we'll put a battery in it, maybe put a lens on it and turn it on and see what happens. Alright then, looks like that's been successful. Moment of truth, we'll put a battery in there and turn it on and see if that corrects our problem, you know. Just sort of temporarily put this back on. I'm not going to screw it back together, but I will just put the back on so you see we have replaced the back screen. Let's see what happens here. Maybe I'll put a lens on there just to see what happens, you know what I'm saying. I'll take the 45mm here. Okay, let's get a battery. Moment of truth, let's see what happened here. You see what I'm saying? So clearly it's the screen, you know. That's good news because the motherboard is actually a more expensive component. So let's just make sure everything works okay. No card in there. Let me go grab a card just to make that a little bit more copacetic. Okay, we got a memory card in there now. Let's turn it back on. Screen works just fine, as you can see. Good news there. So let's just surpass this. Let's put it in manual mode. Take the lens cap off. Everything's working just nice, you know what I'm saying? Switch to shutter priority, switch to aperture priority, program mode, back to aperture, shutter, manual. Okay, seems to be working just fine. Obviously you're seeing an image of my anti-static mat here, but the point is that we seeing an image, we seeing something on the back screen. So let's just, you know, try and mess around with this here with the aperture and whatever. Put it on ISO 100, auto white balance, picture wizard, whatever. Let's just switch it around to portrait just to see that everything's working fine. Let's try continuous, autofocus area. Let's do face detect. Alright, I mean, it seems to be working okay. Focus peaking, that'll be instant. Normal, yeah, whatever. White, let's do red. Red is always better. Okay. Oops. Menu, let's go back. Framing mode, drive. Single drive is fine for now. Meter in. Yeah, whatever. Multi is fine. Point being, it seems to be working just fine. You see what I'm saying? So this was a 20 some odd dollar investment. 1080p, 60 frames per second. Let's put it at 30 or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Okay. Now if we go to function, we can switch up the shutter speed. Let's do 1/60th of a second because I put it on 1080-30. So if we're going to test out some video, for example, this is the 1/8 45mm. So let's put it at 1/8. ISO 100. Yo, it's working, man. Check it out. It's working. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing an image there right now. I'll tell you what, just for the sake of the video, just to simplify, let's put on aperture priority. We'll keep it at 1/8. It's gonna be crazy shutter speed, but whatever's whatever. So let's just try and film a little video on it. Okay, that's the building across the way. Hey, it's working out just fine, man. So there you have it. Easy troubleshooting, you know. Basically the problem is the screen. Needs a screen replacement, which if you're talking about replacing something, the screen is a good thing to replace because it's pretty simple to do and it's inexpensive, you know what I'm saying? So looks like a couple screws back here just to undo it, replace the screen. I'm going AliExpress and see if I can't find maybe the whole back panel. If I can for the same price, I'll just buy the whole back panel, no big deal, you know what I mean? And that's it, man. I'll do that, and I'm gonna order that, and when that comes in, I'll finish up with this video, you know what I'm saying, and we'll have a fully functioning NX300 ready to go, second time. Alright, well, I just wanted to say something. This is just a long shot. I don't know if this will work or not. I haven't tried it out yet, but I was taking a look at the two back screens here of the one that works. This is the brown NX300, and this is the white NX300, of course, as you can tell. And obviously this is the screen that works, and this is the screen that doesn't work. And you can see obviously there's another ribbon connector back here. Now when I compared the two connectors, this one here looks like it's well fastened in place, and this one here does not. So I mean, what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna see if I can't finagle that one into place a little bit better maybe, and you know, we'll see if that doesn't solve the problem. Maybe I won't have to spend a dime, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just a bit of a loose connection, you know. So let's just remove this shit tape. Hold this down right now. I don't know if that tape can be removed, but we'll see. Should be able to. It bears repeating. Anytime you're working with this type of stuff, you know, these connections and all this is so very, very gentle. It's so very, very excuse me, it's so very sensitive that any type of incorrect movement or forcing things a little bit too much beyond what the capacities are, what they're capable of handling, could easily result in breakage, and you definitely don't want to deal with that. Now let me see here. Let me see if I'm saying something that's true, or if I'm let mean, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely worth a try, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with that. Just gonna try and pinch it and see if it can. You see, it was loose a little bit. Now, I don't know if that's gonna result in anything, but now, you know what could have happened, because the screen was partially working. What could have happened, and I'm just speculating at this point in time because I don't know if this is going to do anything or not, but what might have happened right from the start, looks like I broke one of the connectors here, one of the little things that falls into place. Anyways, that's not a big deal. What might have happened is, you see, and again, I'm speculating, now there was an impact, so it was dropped, right? So, and if it was dropped, so you can see it scraped here and it banged here, and when it must have fallen, because this looks like the worst side that was impacted, so it must have fallen something like boom, like this, and maybe even flipped over and then bang, hit this side, and that could have knocked this ribbon connector loose, and that resulted in it having a partial functionality to it, because the screen, you couldn't see a damn thing, but what you could do is you can actually touch the focus. So if I would touch the back screen, even though it was all black, you would hear beep beep as if it was focusing, you know what I'm saying? So it did have some partial functionality to it. Now imagine if that was the case. Let's see, let's put it together and find out. Hold on a second, before I do that, let me just cover this back up. I always like to place these tapes back on. They're on there for a reason, you know, just to act, I suppose, as a dust guard, or I guess it's there too in some case to hold it in place for an impact. But I mean, it's just a piece of tape. I mean, it's not meant to do miracles. If the camera was subjected to some strong impact, I mean, there's not much you could do. A piece of tape sure as hell ain't gonna save you. So let's put this back down, make sure that ribbon connector's in there nice. Okay, yo, we snap back into spot, nicely connected. Now let's just put this back in its place where it's meant to be. Nice and gentle, make sure we don't break anything. It should really just fall into place and snap into place nicely, you know what I'm saying? Hold on one second here. Is that correct? That looks to be correct. Some sort of resistance here, and I certainly do not want to force it, so let me attempt that again. There we go. That's more like it. There we are. You see? If at first you don't succeed, right? Okay. Let's see what happens. I mean, I'm not that optimistic, but you never know. You never know with these things. The reason I think it could work is because, like I said, there was a partial functionality to it. So it could very well be that it just came loose. So half of it wasn't working. Look at that. Boom. What you know about that, man? Fixed. For free, baby. That's the best. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy right now. Let me tell you something, man. Look at that. Look at that. That's all it was. It was loose. Oh my goodness. I stole this, for real. This cost me less than $30. And it's a brand, well, it's not brand new obviously, but it's an NX300, man. Yo, what you know about that, man? Check it out. Screen working nice, you know what I'm saying? Let's see that touch the focus business. You see what I'm saying? Yo, man. Okay then. Don't need to do a damn thing, man. It worked just nice. So, yo, at this point in time, it's just a matter of, let's put the screws back in and we done. It's fixed. Alright, well, I guess that didn't really require much, you know what I'm saying? Just required a good look and sort of comparison between one that functioned and one that didn't, just to see that there was a connection loose, you know what I'm saying? And in a sense, that's an excellent lesson because, like I keep saying, the deals on Samsung cameras in particular are really out there, you know what I mean? I think lately they've sort of picked up in a little bit of the notoriety, and some people are kind of looking towards them. Certainly the NX1, I mean, that's one that continues to elude me as well, because I've been trying to get my hands on an NX1 for a long time now, and it just seems that there was a period in time, I think maybe about, let's say 8 months ago, where I was starting to see a few pop up on the used market, and you were able to sort of get your hands on them, but they were still a little pricey at that point in time, in my opinion, compared to what you can buy on the market as far as competitors and whatnot. But it's just a rare camera, I guess, so they demanding a premium on the price. And lately I haven't seen any at all. I mean, it's just been a ghost town as far as NX1s are concerned on the used market. Obviously there is no new market because they don't produce them anymore. I mean, maybe there are some people who are holding on to new in-box ones here and there, but I don't know where they are, and I certainly wouldn't pay the price that they'd be willing to ask for it. But in any case, you can get cameras that are, you know, inexpensive, like I was saying before with my Samsung NX Mini that I picked up for $150. I got that back about 7 months ago. That was a fantastic buy, I thought. And this one right here, man, this cost me 20 some odd dollars. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because, you know, the guy, I guess, thought that it was sort of in disrepair or whatever. The screen was broken. He didn't want to go through the trouble of trying to fix it or repairing the parts. So I'm happy to try. I like to tinker around with these things. And after looking around, you guys saw, I mean, it's as simple as checking the connections. You know what I'm saying? That's usually the first place to start, and that's obviously a good lesson. Check the connections first, and lo and behold, guess what? I mean, it was just because there was a connection loose. The screen connector was just a little bit loose, so there we go, fixed. And it didn't take much time, didn't take much effort, and guess what? It was the best price, free. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have to spend any more money on it, and I'm happy to have it. So now I have another Samsung NX300, but you know, for the price, listen, it's practically free. You know what I'm saying? 20 something bucks for this camera is ridiculous. So now I have two cameras for NX300s that I've repaired, you know, and there are cameras out there, I suppose, a situation that might require replacement parts or whatever. If you're buying cameras that are, you know, for parts or as is or broken, and people don't know how to fix them, or they just don't want to give it the time of day to try, you know, give it a look and see how it can be fixed, you can pick those up sometimes on the inexpensive tip, like this one here. Like I keep saying, I did fix this one before. This one I purchased with the lens, and the lens that came with it was the 18-55, which I recently sold off because I didn't need to have multiples of it. But it came with the 18-55, and with the 18-55 lens, even with a broken body or a body that didn't work at all, I got it for like $42 or something like that, something crazy, or almost $50, I don't know. But it was worth it because the lens was in fine condition, you know. Even if the camera body was never made to work again, it was like picking up another lens for 50 bucks. And that's excellent because this lens retails at least 100, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, but long story short, I was able to get this one to work just by replacing the motherboard, which cost me, I don't know what it was, like another $30, $35 from AliExpress. And yo, now I got two functioning Samsung NX300s. So you see those deals out there, you know what I'm saying? So if you're one of those people who like to tinker around with these things, do it yourself or whatever, you might find yourself adept to fixing these types of things just by giving it a good look over. You can get yourself a good deal, no question about it, you know what I'm saying? So Samsung NX300 in white, which is not my favorite color, but you know, whatever's whatever, it functions the same way. And it cost me less than $30. Imagine that. Alright then, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Consider subscribing, giving a thumbs up and all that bullshit if you like what you've seen, you know what I'm saying? I thought it might be a little bit more involved than that, but in the end it turned out to be a very simple fix. So that's good news for me, and in some cases it might be a lesson for you too. Make sure you check all the connections when you come across a situation like this. Maybe it's on your own camera, you know what I'm saying? So your own camera may have had something like that, like an impact that knocked things loose. And that goes to show you, man, these cameras are built well, these Samsungs, because it looks like it took a good knock, and for it to have taken a good knock like that and nothing to be broken, just for it to have come loose, yo, that's impressive, man. Just gives me another thing to look at as far as like the good quality that these Samsung cameras were made, you know what I'm saying? So, yo, it's another notch on Samsung's belt. So, again, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.